Holy moly, I'm looking in the camera right now and my lips are blue and you are eating a cookie just as we start recording, and that is now going to be
Sorry.
worst time to bite a cookie
Worst
is
time.
when you hit record button, but
Yes.
classic.
Good morning.
Good
Good morning
morning.
from virtually.
Virtually, we are virtual today because time is just not on our side this week.
It is
That's
not
fine.
on our side. No. And it is freezing.
It is so cold.
Your lips actually do look kind of blue.
Yeah,
Are you
my
okay?
lips are blue. I am so cold. I can't feel my fingers right now.
Ugh.
I actually, because I've got the Toyota Land Cruiser GR Sport this weekend. Well, the weekend that has just been, and I did think about sitting in the car and recording in there because it has a heated steering wheel and the most amazing heated seats because the car is so decked out. But I'm inside because I felt like I probably should be wasting petrol. That it's not my petrol. Actually, it's probably when I should be wasting it when it's not mine.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Oh, how are you?
I'm good. I'm also very cold, and we'll get into our green flags and red flags because we have many of them at the end of the episode. But obviously we didn't have a race this weekend, but we did have a long weekend. We did have the Mush's birthday.
Happy birthday. And for anyone wondering who Mush is, that's Gabriel.
My baby boy. Not Gabriel Bortoleto, just my son.
Yeah.
But yes, no race this weekend. But we do have Canada coming up, which is exciting.
I know. We're back in the land of maple syrup this weekend.
Oh, back in the land of maple syrup and those hedgehog things as well that run on track.
Oh yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm. I've had a brain fart. I can't remember what they're called, but like not much has gone on in the news, but a few little things that we had to touch on.
Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing that's happened over the last week is definitely, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this because I keep forgetting, I don't know about you, that Cadillac is coming next year, the 11th team.
The 11th team. I think because we were speculating it for so long, it's strange to think that it's actually going to happen.
Because it's also so weird to think about. And look, AFL is someone that has gone through this in the last 2 decades, I guess, because they introduced 2 new teams. You have to start.
Oh, they
scratch.
did too.
You have to build up a new fan base. Everyone goes, "Who is this cheap ass team?" Like it's kind of, you're the new kid on the block. It's interesting. So, and whilst this whole season's going on, we're focused on the season. We're not focused on Cadillac next year. We're not focused on 2026. But in the background, Cadillac is having to build up a bit of an audience and a bit of a drum up scenario. And because they are that all-American team, like, and that's sort of the angle that they're going for, which I'm sure Donald Trump is absolutely loving because he's all like, keep it in America, keep it in America. That they, of course, had to sign their clothing sponsor. And they've gone with all-American brand Tommy Hilfiger. So they've gone with Tommy Hilfiger. How do you feel? Like, I mean, do you think it's a good choice? I think it was a great choice.
I'm excited to have Tommy Hilfiger back because obviously we've seen, last season. Actually, I can't remember how many seasons they were sponsoring Mercedes. And we know that they do a great job. I mean, we have previously said in previous seasons that we loved, I mean, especially George Russell. He was a fantastic ambassador for them. But they do such a good job within the F1 space. And Tommy Hilfiger is what you're saying, iconic American. So I think it's going to be a perfect pairing. I think if it wasn't Tommy Hilfiger, it would have had to have been like Ralph Lauren or something.
Well, it's smart that they've brought this brand on as well because Tommy Hilfiger has such a large following and devoted customer.
But I find as well,
like they kind of need to bring that over to Cadillac.
Yeah, I think as well though, like to be honest, I think that Tommy Hilfiger, and look, if people want to correct me if I'm wrong, then so be it. Tommy Hilfiger used to be maybe a little bit more popular. And then it kind of, I feel like it was sort of like going downhill.
It definitely ebbs and flows.
Yeah. And then I think.
But they're in their flow mode. I mean, they're sponsoring the F1 movie.
Well, that's what I mean is doing things like this, like cementing themselves within a sport that is so popular and just on an upwards trajectory, then it makes sense because this is a way for them to sort of like stay cemented within, I don't know, the fashion world and kind of not looking
100%. They've definitely aligned themselves with motorsport. The only other thing that they could align themselves more is going into Sail GP, but I think it's such a smart move. We've got to do a deeper dive because we have two new teams essentially next year. We've got Audi and Cadillac. I mean, kick, steak, kick.
It's just a rebrand.
It's a rebrand. It's going to be a much.
Although
easier.
I'm excited to see like
it's a much easier rebrand next year.
It is a much easier rebrand, but I think as well, I'm kind of remember when we first saw the kick steak and we were like, we love the green car. You know, it stands out. I don't think we'll see a green Audi.
No, I don't think they'll go green, but we'll have to do a little deep dive into that. What else has been happening in the news world for you? What have you seen?
Well, I think as well, like on the topic of Cadillac, we do need to discuss, because there's been a lot of articles coming out in the last week just about rumors about, you know, this. Obviously, it's such a competitive sport, right? And like seats are so valuable, and it's almost made it like that tiny bit. I didn't want to say less competitive because it's still so competitive, but like that little bit more accessible because we are adding in another team. So, you know, the thing that's on everyone's lips is like, who's going to take those two seats? And, you know, I've been reading things where it's like, obviously we have seen rumors about Checo, which I'm like pretty certain Checo will get a seat. Like, could it be Zhou Guanyu, which would make so much sense because he would bring in such a massive fan base, but then also it's like, does Logan Sargent come back? Because American, they'll want an American.
No, Logan Sargent's not coming back, but I don't know about Zhou Guanyu.
Then like, who could it be? But then also Valtteri Bottas is like, you know, he came out the other day saying like, my time in F1 isn't done, which look, he is a reserve driver for 3 teams this season, but like, is he like, nah, I don't want to be a reserve driver. Like, I want to be in a seat. Hey. Like, will Daniel Ricciardo come back?
Nah,
like,
no way is Daniel coming back. And if anything, I think Valtteri might go to Aston Martin. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I can see that. Actually, that would be like an elite team.
Yeah.
The seniors.
Yeah, I could see Valtteri going to Aston
That would be like the oldest team on the grid. Not in a bad way.
No.
Oldest team on the grid.
Not in a bad way. I think
most experienced.
Look, if Lance Stroll doesn't race in Canada, then it may be Valtteri Bottas racing.
I think he might be. I'm really confused about that because I'm reading mixed things.
So last week we said that Filip Drugovich said he wouldn't race Le Mans, but he's actually racing Le Mans this weekend. Yeah. So I don't know what that was about. I think that was false news. I think we got fooled into thinking something.
He posted something like on the way to Le Mans.
Yeah, he's on his way to Le Mans. He's not going to Canada. We're still unsure what is happening with Lance Stroll. It turns out though, so last week when we said, I got, you know, heated. My theory and idea about Lance Stroll, we're not the only ones that thought that. Like a lot of people have come out and said the exact same thing, which has been really interesting because where there's smoke, there's fire. So
yeah.
And it's interesting, a lot more credible sources than us as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm like in two minds though, because then I read like things about maybe he'll race, but then I read that he actually had surgery again.
Yeah, so he had surgery in Barcelona with the same surgeon.
Same surgeon, yeah.
And it's like, can you race a week after surgery? But I mean, you never. Some people have a keyhole surgery.
Like Carlos Sainz won the Australian Grand Prix after getting his appendix out.
Exactly. So. Like some people have like a tiny thing. Like mum had surgery the other week just to remove some scar tissue, and she was fine the next day. So everything is so subjective to whatever it is. But he's been having serious pain. And then there was all these rumors as well coming out about Lance Stroll saying he was like yelling in the garage, and then someone from the Aston Martin team engineer came out and said, no, Lance was never yelling in the garage. And then someone else apparently allegedly from Aston Martin came out and said, we didn't know that Lance had pain. No one's told us. So it's messy. Something's going on there. Messy. There's nothing going on and it's all just as is. But
all right. Well, watch the space.
Canada will be interesting.
I'm really excited actually.
Because it's his home race, by the way.
It's his home race. I know. Which is also like a driver missing their home race would be massive. Like think about all the commitments, but maybe that's why he's missing it on purpose because he's like, I don't want to be a part of all the commitments. Let me like tap out.
Hey, speaking of commitments, Carlos Sainz is fairly busy.
Carlos Sainz has been very busy. We have spoken about the fact that we will have Madrid next year on the calendar. This weekend just gone, they did like a roadshow at the Madrid Ring. So they had Carlos Sainz, so he was kind of just zooming around in his car. And then I think they had Marc Marquez, the MotoGP driver, and Marti Bauer or something, but like all like a Spanish trio of motorsport gods. But you know what? Like, they have done such a good job with their social media. Like, they're at, I think, like 20,000 followers, which is like pretty good for a track, like a circuit. Like, their marketing team is doing very well, because there's some there's some circuits where they don't really invest in like building their social presence. Like, think about, like, they haven't even had a GP there yet.
No, they haven't. Well, but
So
that's the dedication of the fans. I think it goes back to what you were saying last year, not last year, last week, about how everyone was ready for Barcelona to be over,
to finish.
including yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone's like, let's unfollow Barcelona circuit and let's follow Madrid. But that would have been, it looked like a really fun event and would have been great for the Spanish fan base.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Spanish people are passionate fans.
Yes.
Would you say that? Would you say they're a passionate people compared to most?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, wait.
I think so.
Who's more passionate about something in their home country in terms of fan and sport?
Argentinians.
You reckon? Besides Argentinians? The French?
Yeah, the French. Yeah, the French.
Or the Italian?
Oh. Nah, the French.
You reckon the French?
And not just sports, though. And look, granted, I do think everything French.
You can answer this question with credibility because you can speak all these languages.
And because I lived there as well. Yeah. But the one thing but you know what? I also am someone that's like, everything the French do is better. So I'm like, and they all have that mentality. Like, I remember one of my like good friends in France, and we had this conversation. We were like 15. He was like, the French flag is the most beautiful flag. He's like, oh, le drapeau australien, c'est moche. He'd be like, the Australian flag is ugly. And I was like, he's like, the British flag is also beautiful. He's like, how nice is and I was like, look, he's not wrong. The French flag is beautiful. The colors, they look very good together. It is symmetrical. Yeah. Like,
complements each other well.
Complements each other. Look, you know, you're
capital of the world.
Exactly. You're coming at my biscuits. Like, I now only buy French biscuits. Like, Mont Saint Michel. Because they have butter, they don't have margarine. Like, everything the French do is good. So yes, to come back to it, Paris Saint-Germain won the champions. But I mean, sports obviously tricky. But yeah, probably the French. They're so passionate. And then yeah, you're right. The Italians are very passionate too.
Well, I'm excited for the Madrid.
Actually, I saw this thing the other day where it was like a countdown to Monza and all these photos of just the sea of Monza. I think it's like, I don't know. I obviously didn't read the number properly, but maybe we've got like 10 races until Monza or something, or less. 5.
We got a lot. It's not till September.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize it wasn't until September. I was like, fuck, that's actually ages away. August?
Yeah. As I wear my Monza crew. My Monza crew. But yeah, I'm excited to see Madrid next year, but we've got a bit of time to wait for that. I also read something the other day and I was like, I don't know if this is something to keep an eye on or not. But so Arvid Lindblad, so he's an F2 driver.
Yeah.
And he's 17, and apparently Red Bull has formally applied for a super license for him. Oh. So whether they're planning to take him on
is he in the Red Bull Academy? Like drivers
He must
academy?
be. He must be, because why would they be applying for that?
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, are you trying to put someone in that like reserve driver seat, or?
That's weird, because the whole thing with Max Verstappen at the moment is obviously he has penalty points, right? He's at 11 penalty points. If he hits 12, he gets a 1 race ban. Now 2 of his points actually expire end of this month or end of July. I forget which J month it is. But so he has to be on his best behavior. Oh yes, he has to be on his best behavior up until Silverstone, because if he misses a race, they've already said that Isaac Hadjar will be the replacement for Max Verstappen for that race.
Wow.
Yeah, so someone else would step into the Visa Cash App car for that race, which is, so that's interesting that that's come up.
Interesting that they put Isaac in there instead of Liam. Because Liam, granted, he obviously...
Really? They're both rookies, but Isaac's doing a lot better than Liam.
I know. Isaac is hands down. Actually, now officially he's doing better.
Isaac is the official reserve driver for Red Bull. I
The
don't
only
think Liam is.
The only reason I say that is because obviously, like, Liam has had more experience in the car. So it's like, is it more of a risk to put Isaac in? But at the same time, I feel like Isaac deserves it because he's officially like surpassed Kimi Antonelli now in terms of performance.
Yeah. No, I think he's killing it. So that'd be
Well,
an interesting one to watch.
Kimi has more points, but Isaac has only DNF'd once. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. Again, another one. Watch this space. We will see. But gosh, it'd be exciting seeing Isaac in the Red Bull seat.
I know. I'd like to see that one.
All right. Well, come on, Max. Fuck
like
up then.
I know. Kind of like, Max. Are we ready to go to social corner? Because I actually have a rumor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's go into the social corner. Go on. Hit me.
All right. I'm here. I know this is your social corner and overtaking.
No.
Rumor, and
I love it.
Max. So there are rumors floating around that Max and Kelly are actually married. Now, this came up because of something that Kelly said. She said something like, my husband, in something that she was doing over on the weekend. Look, it's not, sometimes, I don't know what the rules are around the world, but in Australia, if you've been together, living together for a certain amount of time, you are de facto, you're like, by law, you're technically married. Like, you just haven't signed a different type of piece of paper. But if you were to split up, you can treat it like a divorce, especially if you have joint assets. And anyway, so I was like, maybe that's what she's just saying. But then it got me thinking that a while back, I'm not sure if you remember this, I mentioned that a girl was hanging out with a few of the drivers at Crown during the Oz GP, and Max was one of the people at dinner, and he was sitting next to a pregnant brown-haired girl, she said, and she doesn't understand, she doesn't know anything about the F1 world, and he said he introduced her as his wife. I was like, maybe they had a sick little marriage.
But then the other day, I don't know, maybe, but then I did read something where she said, what was it? I think they interviewed her for something, or she did like a panel talk or something, and she said specifically, like, he's not my husband.
No, that's what she said. I'm pretty sure that was like just recently on the weekend. She did a panel and she said my husband.
Like in Portugal. I don't know. Who bloody knows? Or maybe, she did a panel in Portugal, which actually I was like, this looks kind of interesting. It was like a weird mix of people, like Chiara Ferragni, you know her, the Italian. No. She was like the one that did like the blonde salad, and she was married to Feathers, that DJ. Well, she was on that panel, then like Simon Cowell was on that panel, like all these like random people, influential people. But I think then also she did a photo shoot talking about like being a mum and how, you know, the love that she feels and all that, and about a piece kind of around Lily. Maybe it was in that where she said like, he's not my husband.
Oh, okay.
But who knows? Again, like that's one of those things where marriage. And if anything, like Max would just never really admit it or something, or like it would, you know,
Maxing. It's such a Maxing.
Yeah, or he would like come out however many years down the track. But I don't know if you saw this actually. So Leila Hasanovic, Mick Schumacher's ex.
Yeah, Mick Schumacher's ex.
So I saw this thing pop up the other day where apparently it was like, you know how there's those crazy people that find things out, like by looking at who follows who.
And so then we sound like the crazy people talking about it, yes.
Yeah, and then we sound like the crazy people talking about it. Apparently, someone found out that, or picked up that he's unfollowed her.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm like, who are these people? Do they put notifications or something? Anyway, a few days later, she was spotted holding hands with tennis player, the worlds have crossed, tennis player Jannik Sinner.
Oh.
Holding hands, and then she was spotted at his game. So I'm like, maybe he found out that she was dating someone else, aka Jannik Sinner, and then he unfollowed her.
There
you go. So a little bit of drama in the F1/tennis world. Also, congratulations, Lorenzo Leclerc. So Charles Leclerc's oldest brother got married, which I remember we spoke about. We spoke about this a couple of, maybe even last season, where we were saying because Alex was asked to be a bridesmaid. It was actually, though, to be fair, it was their civil marriage. So usually, I know they do this in Venezuela, you have like your civil marriage where it's basically like the church, the signing, and then you do the party on another occasion. So they probably like do a dinner or something after the civil. But yeah, it looked really nice. It looked beautiful. The girls had like, or the bridesmaids had these like kind of short sort of dresses. They're like a short wrap dress, almost like that old school Zimmerman style. I'm like, it's a civil ceremony. It's probably not as like dressed up as what the actual marriage will be. But it was quite funny because then I saw all these things on TikTok where apparently like these memes, and Alex actually shared one where apparently like Arthur Leclerc, which is their youngest brother, apparently he was like left. And so this image popped up of like him running out of the wedding, like looking. So I think like Charles and Alex were supposed to drive him home, but they just left him there. And then like this image pops up of them like coming around a roundabout, like picking him up, and he's like, wait. But
did you see one of the funny things that I find about this wedding? It's not a funny thing about the wedding. There was a photo of the 3 Leclerc brothers, and you can clearly see who are the F1 drivers.
Yeah, I know,
the motorsport drivers, because their necks are so damn thick. And then what's his oldest brother's name again?
Lorenzo.
Yeah, Lorenzo just has like a normal size neck. There's like a photo of the 3 of them, and Lorenzo's in the middle. I was like, oh my god, his neck normal.
A normal neck, yes. I wonder how old he is though. But the girl he married, her name's Charlotte, which is funny because obviously Charles' ex was Charlotte. She's a dentist, because on her thing it says like Dr. Charlotte, and I'm like, oh, and then she's a dentist.
It did look
like slay. It did look very beautiful. Beautiful Monaco wedding. And then also apparently, as we're on the topic of the Leclerc family, Charles brought out 8 new flavors of his ice cream.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Well, they're coming soon. I feel like that Lec ice cream has been a bit of a flop, but
look, like I said last year, I spent a whole month looking for it. Finally found it in our last few days of our trip. Bought 3 flavors, was not impressed.
It was kind of like Halo Top, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For anyone wondering what Halo Top is, it's our version of like ice cream in Australia. We've had it for years.
I think it's American though, Halo Top.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
It's like healthy like a low calorie ice cream.
It's fake ice cream and it's fake gelato. And it just kind of tastes icy.
Yeah, tastes a bit sad.
Nothing anyway.
Yeah, that's all we have for the social corner. Random fact of the week. Do you have one?
I don't have anything random because it's been fairly quiet this week. Yeah, what have you got?
It has been fairly quiet, and I was going to leave this out until I saw something funny. I want to know, Elle, there is a driver on the grid that is an ambassador for a hamburger. Can you guess who?
Oscar for grilled.
Actually, true. There's 2, but no, not Oscar. I'm not talking about Oscar.
Okay, then no. Who?
Carlos Sainz.
What? Since when?
Yeah. There's like a burger company.
Yeah.
And he's an ambassador for it.
Oh.
Fun fact. I was like, what?
I mean, Lewis Hamilton used to have a burger shop as well. I think he still does. So he's also burger.
True. Okay, well, I guess they're all aligning to burgers.
Okay, so this isn't as random.
Well, it is random because I'm like, Carlos Burger? Sorry?
Yeah.
What? I didn't know this. I feel like, I don't know, I just can't picture him, Oscar, like it makes sense. Carlos, not so much.
There you go.
I'm really intrigued to know how much he'd get paid for that as well. Canada GP coming up this weekend.
Yes, I know. We've already touched on it. I honestly have no idea what to expect. We'll have groundhogs everywhere. And look, I think it might be a Lando moment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And I think Max will be on his best behavior and he'll be on podium as well.
Yeah, last year Max won. Lando came second and George came third. Oscar came fifth. I could see Oscar winning. I think it's not going to be a very exciting podium. It's going to be a McLaren sandwich with a Max in there or something like that.
We're at this point.
Yeah.
It's not going to be exciting. Like, is this how we're feeling now?
I think so.
No, we can't think that. Like,
I know. Sorry, I need to keep thinking like Max win. Sorry, Oscar win. I need to keep thinking about like the greater good, which the greater good is Oscar winning the world championship. Yeah, that's the greater good.
The greater good is having that impact in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be maybe he'll be able to buy his yacht when we hit that point.
Hey, just a really quick random thing as well on that, because I said I think Lando's going to win. You said it's Oscar. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of. Whoa! I'm looking. My lips are so.
Yeah, are you okay? Do you want to make a tea?
I'm not okay. For anyone wondering, my lips are so blue. I've just realized like they're getting like worse and worse as I sit here. That's how cold I am right now.
You need to make a tea.
That on social media, we noticed that Oscar and Lando were sort of being positioned as like this brotherly best friend situation. I haven't really been seeing that lately. So,
oh, true. Maybe they went too hard.
It's something to observe this week.
No, I think because they were maybe because there's no beef between them. So they were trying too hard to like show something when they're. But also, we haven't had a race in a week.
Yeah, but no, I've been noticing this for the last few weeks. So just keep your eye out on that one.
I did say that there will be drama towards the later end of the season, but let's see if I'm correct with that. Okay, well, I'm excited to be in Canada, but hey, I think we need to wrap this up with our green flag and red flag. You go first, my darling.
Green flag. Well, I've had the absolute pleasure of driving a Land Cruiser 300 Series, a GR Sport this weekend. It has been a phenomenal car to drive, like super luxurious. I think this one is spec'd out to be around your 170, 180 mark. That's Australian dollars, thousands of dollars. So very, very expensive, very, very big. Have absolutely loved it, and I've got to go return her tomorrow.
It's very sad to return. I remember this was the car that I was able to drive when I went to Winton, and Elle was like to me, how, because obviously it's huge, like, how did you feel driving this? And I was like, I felt like a king. Like, it's going to be it's very shit giving it back. I was like, oh, my car feels so small now after driving this.
It's a lot
and it's powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah, so I've written a whole article on that, and that will be out this week, which is exciting. And then also, I have 2 green flags. I don't want to talk about my red flags, but green flag is I did my first presenting job for Car Expert on Thursday. So that's super exciting. And we discussed the Leap Motor C10. If anyone's wondering what that is, it's another Chinese EV car because there's not enough of them at the moment.
No, there isn't. Was it did you enjoy it?
It was great. It was really fun doing that. And there'll be more of them coming soon. Yeah. What about you?
My red flag, I'll start off with the negative. Last night we just had such a rough night with the mush. I was like, yes, I'm going to go to sleep early and do Pilates, and like went to sleep. And then from 12 o'clock, he was awake, screaming and crying and crying and crying. And like, I think he's getting sick and he just wouldn't go to sleep. And that was and then he would wake up again. So that was not great. So I had to pay $15 to cancel my Pilates class this morning, which is annoying. But my green flag is, yes, it was my baby's first birthday on Saturday, so we had a little family day, which was really cute, and then had a little family party for him yesterday. So I've been incredibly emotional. I literally have not stopped crying. I didn't realize how emotional I would be. I went to do a speech and I was like, obviously I'll cry. From the beginning, I was like, it's I literally couldn't control myself. Obviously it's happy that your baby turns 1, but I think it's just a lot of emotions, thinking of the fact, thinking back to labor and all those things. And I mean, if anyone wants to hear my labor story one day, ask me because it's very funny. But yes, so that is my green flag. Also, I did have my friend's hens on Saturday night, which I organized, which was a bit stressful, but it ended up going really well. And I did wake up on the mush's birthday with a splitting headache, but powered through.
Nothing like being hungover on your first baby's first birthday.
Yep.
Yeah, like that.
Do you know what?
The way to be.
It's the way to be. There was another girl that was had her child's second birthday party, and she's 60 people coming to my house. I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound fun.
That would be
does not sound fun. Yeah, I'm like, no, I'll just deal with my children. It was funny because we went to this sanctuary place, and Hillsville Sanctuary. We walked in, I was like, Peter.
Kids everywhere?
Well, yeah, we were just like, oh, I guess this is what we do now. We're the kind of people where we love our child.
I feel like you and I discussed Hillsville Sanctuary, and you were like, oh, no, I wouldn't go on the long weekend. There'll be children everywhere. And then you messaged me saying you were there, and I was like...
It actually wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad because it was raining.
It was raining and so cold.
And so cold. I mean, lucky it didn't really rain for us there, but and it was so funny watching him because he's like me. He loves people watching. And there would literally be a wallaby right in front of him, and he was this staring at the people next to me, going eyeing them off up and down. So anyway,
Anyway,
it was lovely. But I think that's all we have time for this week. Thursday, we will have another episode come out with Hayley. A nice interview. And we will be back next week discussing Canada.
Don't forget to like, subscribe.
All of the above. But thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.